And good morning. How you doing? How was your weekend? How was your weekend? I tell you, I had a really good weekend. Um, Kind of quiet at times, but then I went to church on Sunday. I did two church services. Both of them were very good, and we had to really pay attention because there was some significant things running through both services that we were talking to our pastor about after, and it was funny, but it just lets you know that when you fellowship and it's in the good interest of just saying that the you have the Lord present in your life, you're okay. You're okay. My nose is running a little bit this morning, sorry, but I got some kisses. They had a table after one of the service after the second service, and they had these kisses and they had watermelon. So I got the watermelon. I ate the watermelon, but I still have the kisses. So I don't know, maybe when my daughter comes over she can have some of these kisses. But today I decided to speak on something that really has just probably rocked with me for a while. I'm always worrying about when I'm going, how I'm going, who I'm going with. And my thing is, do we pay attention to the environment that we're going into? Because sometimes we can think about it, and we say, I'm not going there. That's not my kind of place. Or who else is going to be there? We might ask these questions, but a lot of times we become oblivious to not too much worry. And I know the Bible says that God didn't give us a spirit of fear. However, okay, who would just think that the things that are going on lately are just, to me, there's some fear in them. There's deep concern in them because I paid attention to the news, and I believe it happened Saturday at a Dollar Tree um in Jacksonville. Well, I was in the Dollar Tree in Jacksonville, but here at another portion of Florida. So, and you just go there not thinking that anyone is, intentional coming in to harm you. You're not bothering them, but they think that it could be your color, your size, your dress, your orientation, and whatever it is that you do. That's where they come in on at you. That's where they come at you for. Good morning, Tammy. How are you doing, sweetie? And so the concern is, what do you do? How do we protect ourselves? Well, I think one of the things that we sometimes have just gotten out of is, do we scan our environment? Do we scan it? Do we look around? Who else is in here? You know, Paying attention. Like, even I had a meeting with somebody the other day, and they told me, hey, look, I don't sit with my back to the door. I just don't. I want to be able to be in a position of being able to move, being able to make my every attempt of getting out the way, but my back cannot be to the door. Well, I remember that, just having grown up in New York, and I just remember that my mother, my dad always said, we don't want our backs to the door. So very seldom, sometimes even when I'm in the last seat, coming in, I'm the last seat at the table, only because I came late and I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, and I have to calm my fears. That's when I'm probably going to do my little quiet prayer. But it is what it is. But let's see who's else in there. Good morning. Let's see, Tammy, Joan, good morning. Ardelia, good morning. Gloria Clay, good morning. I was at the Dollar General, says I go there at least 2 times every week. Absolutely. Absolutely. I was in and then, not thinking again, was trying to take back something that was stale that I bought at a Dollar General store yesterday on the way home from church. And for some reason, I couldn't get the item taken care of. So I ended up buying something else that I really needed. And, but I found myself looking around, trying to scan who else is in here. What are they doing? And then I didn't find very many attendants. There was one attendant in that entire store, because the new store I went in yesterday was called like a Dollar General Market. There were no attendants. So everything that is done as at your own by self checkout. It's like we're getting to be a real automated society, but then there's still people roaming around looking for easy access to you. And so that's kind of scary. It says, exit. Evil is everywhere. Evil is everywhere. Yes, it is, Adelia. I agreed. If possible, face the door. Absolutely. And you know, but you don't always think about it. You don't. You don't. We do not always think about it. Sometimes we forget ourselves and we just want to be, look, happy and gay. That's it. That's all we want to be. We don't want to be caught up in the worry. But sometimes, not that we worry, but we need to be cautious. We need to be cautious and we need to scan. That's today's word. Scan our environment. Who else is in here? Who else looks like they're having a bad day? And I might be, in the cross range. You never know. You just never know. Certainly, we have to stay. For me, I have to stay prayed up. I just have to. I have to do everything I can to try to protect myself. Try, you know. And around your house you can have the bells and whistles, so anybody cross, even if they're all the way out and across the street, my doorbell will pick it up. My ring, it will pick it up that they're over there. And so we need to have that attention being given to where we're going, and who else is out there. Are we alone? Are we with others? And sometimes even being with others doesn't make it any safer if a person has intention to do harm. That's the scary part. If they are intending to, and they're trying to what they said about this young man is that he had a manifesto, and his manifesto is that he felt, and they said it was in his mind, obviously, but the manifesto is that it had a lot of, bad words and certainly directed at a certain people of color, Black people. So our concern should not just be that we're going out to have a good time. We also need to be cautious enough that we've scanned the environment, that we know where we're going. Okay. And we're knowing how to, as best we can. Because let's see, I don't think anybody can protect themselves from a bullet unless they're out the way of it. That's the only way, because a bullet is a bullet. And to me, the people that have bullets, and using them towards people, they're intending to hurt you or kill you, to take you out. So anyway, I found this poem, and I've read this poem before, and I do believe it is a great poem by Rudyard Kipling. I know you've heard me say that before, and it's called If. If sometimes, if we took 5 more minutes, if we arrived 5 minutes later, if we, made every precaution before we go out, that people know where we're going, what time we're planning on getting back, and all those kinds of things. I try to build those in. I try to have a few people that at least pay attention enough to me, that love me enough, that says, okay, she's back home. But anyway, this is If. And it says, it was written in actually Rewards and Fairies by Brother Square Toes. Okay. It says, if you can keep your head when it all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait, not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster, and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knives to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, And so hold on when there is nothing to you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance, run. Yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Obviously, we're going to use son as if it's woman too. Son, woman. Um, that poem says a lot of ifs. If we look at our lives differently than it just being so simple and look at the bad and the good, the up and the down, the worry and the not worry, we try to stay in the middle of looking out for ourselves. We scan. We do every aspect of trying to make sure that we know our environment, we understand it. That's not to say that I could go out from my doors 30 minutes from now and somebody who wasn't necessarily looking for me, but I fit the character of who will fit the bill for them, it might be my demise. But I stand today to just say, you know what, I am looking, I am scanning, I am in a position of trying to do as best I can, keep my safety. And that's what I ask you all to do. It says, I will remember it. I didn't know what it meant then, but I do now. Absolutely. Just scan. We have to look around. I had to memorize it in the 7th grade. Okay, Ardelia. Yes. Yeah, it's a great poem. It really talks about how there is always an if. If I did this, if I did that, if I wasn't there, if I didn't go and do that. That's our lives. There's always an if. My grandmother used to say, but the F is a crooked letter. Crooked letter. It's crooked. It's already telling you it's almost like a question mark. Okay. That's how I look at that F. It's almost like the question mark of, what else could it be if? Got to try it. Thank you, Adelia. That's really good. So let's move on to our word, but I'm going to ask you, are you stuck? Are you stuck on not scanning your environment or scanning it too much? Well, to be honest with you, of late, I don't think we can scan our environments too much. I think we need to constantly be looking. I pay attention to other people's conversations, even though I'm not in them. I pay attention to if I see, people running, I'm going to be running too. I'm not going to stay back to try to see what's going on. Okay. I've seen people, and I've probably been one of them. As an accident happens, I may speed up a little bit. Well, not break the law, but get out the way, because I didn't see what initially happened. So I don't want to be caught up in trying to make up what I saw, especially if I didn't see anything. Good morning, Maurice. How are you today? Our word is scan. So what is scan? Scan says looking at all parts of something carefully in order to do an action for its features. What happened? How do we look at it? Safe. How do we stay safe? How do we? That's a good word. Thank you, Joan. That's a good word. It says that we must really, when we're scanning stuff, we must really study it. We must study what's going on, looking around, paying attention. Like, I'm a note taker. Everybody knows I'm a copious note taker. I will write down some stuff. And I'll do that in interviews. Sometimes I can just write a few words and it just triggers what it is that was said. Okay. Other times, I never took shorthand. And I think if that was ever an idea that I should have done, I should have done it, but I didn't do it. When I've worked with people that I was actually taking down their information, I would tape them. And I said, do you mind if I just tape you? Because I can't write that fast, especially if it's interviews for an article, whatever. I did it that way. Marie says to analyze from top to bottom, beginning to end, absolutely scrutinize. Yes. Hey, good morning, Debbie. Guess what, Debbie? You always have my word. But before I go on, it says to study, to examine, to scrutinize, to inspect. How many of us inspect our environments? Looking around things. Even when I come in my house, I know my house has it, that it borderline fortress, not quite, but it is pretty good. Okay. It's going to let me know. You touch these windows, you touch these doors, I know it. Okay. I know to call my 911. So for me, I'm like, I've scrutinized the house. I've paid attention to it. It says that we should also inspect. We should survey. Sometimes none of us have surveyed a lot of things. Good morning, Melissa. How are you? Good to have you in the space. Awesome, awesome, awesome to see you in this space too. Thank you. So it says when we look at this, at the scanning aspect of our lives, it says we should be searchers. We should be sweepers, seekers. We should look at something that we may have to rake through to make sure that anything in there that could hurt us, we need to know it. It says we need to watch, to contemplate, to regard it, to take stock in it. It says we should look at it as if it's glass so we can see through it. Ooh, that's good. We can see through stuff. It says also we need to check it out. We need to make a scope of it. What are we really seeing? 100%, 100%, 100%, absolutely. We should be suspicious. Come on now, Ardelia. Yes, yes. And it also says that we should cut to the core. What is over there? If we don't know what's over there, we got to go over there. We may have to swallow hard, but we may have to go and check it out. And it says we need to watch out when we're scanning for the con. Who's the con? That could be the enemy. That like those people did not realize that this individual was going to come into the store in Jacksonville. I think one thing, as you have probably known me, I pay attention as I'm going through any words to make the connection between what it is going on in the real world and what it is with our words and how we can make sense of it for our lives, how we can make this a living opportunity to go forward and not be stuck, which is all my thing. Are you stuck in our fear, or stuck in our anguish, or stuck in our pride, or in our jealousy, in our ignorance? We don't need to be ignorant about what's going on. There's a lot going on. We need to be up on taking care of ourselves. Okay, Joan says satisfied. Well, now we go to the S of the word. And S, and you all have already given me a lot of great words. I did have scrutinize, which means to examine and inspect. As Debbie had said, to survey, to study, to look over, to pursue. It also says to audit. How many of us even audit our bills when we get them back from like a restaurant, when we get our bill for how much it cost us to eat? I got one the other day and it said $51. I said, not me. I don't know who else ate, but the two of us didn't come up with $51. I said more like 21. Sure enough, she said, "Ooh, that's wrong." Took it right back. But sometimes we don't pay attention to it. We'll end up being basically scammed because we didn't scan. Ooh, that's good. Okay, I'm done with it now. But anyway, so it also says we should review it, analyze it, dissect it. How many of us dissect things that happen? I'm one for taking stuff apart. Now, I'm not saying that I can always get it back together, but long as it's something of like it's words, it's a process, it's a problem, I can do all of that. Now, don't ask me to dissect, like I hated biology. I got through it, but I wasn't the one that was, having it with that frog. The frog and I didn't agree. So I always picked a teammate that didn't mind going in and doing what they had to do to the frog. I just thought that was horrible. It says, scan because we didn't scan. That's a word. Okay. Thank you, Melissa. You got that right. Scan because we didn't. And sometimes we don't scan even our family. I'm letting you know, we don't scam. They've scammed us because we did not scan them. No, I already gave you the money. You can't come back and ask me for more money. Okay, I already paid for so and so, and so I'm not paying for that again, because they listen. Family, like friends, like foe, can sometimes think that you no longer pay attention to stuff. And when we stop paying attention to stuff, that's when people come in. They come right on in on us. You know, well, I know, that's an easy target. I'm going to go back over there. I was telling somebody the other day that, in fact, my daughter and I were talking over the weekend, and I was saying that I have gotten referrals from other people, and they did wonderful jobs, and the referral was from a man. They did wonderful jobs for the man. Well, the person that they sent to me was the same one that did work for them, a man. They did a poor job. And I would try to explain to them. I said, it's something about how they can scam us. Not that we did anything to them, but we become an easy target because we don't scan them. And sometimes people need to be scanned. Well, yeah, you did a good job over there. So I have gotten to the point where I just fire folks. Said, no, don't come back. That wasn't a good job. I'm not giving you any more money. You already got too much, and you better hope I don't take you to small claims court, because what I signed up for, you did not give me. Okay. If I wasn't as busy, sometimes we have to unbusy ourselves to get busy with folks that do stuff to us. Just kind of plain and simple. It says, so anyway, when we move further on in the word of scan, my C is contemplate. I believe we should contemplate every action that we do, because every action will eventually have a reaction. It may be calmness. That's a reaction. Kind of easy going. But then there's big reactions. Okay. I don't want to go to hospital because somebody decided that because I chose to go into a dollar store and they chose to take me out. Okay. That's a reaction. But we have to contemplate every time we leave our houses, where we're going to go, how long we're going to stay, who we're going with us, all of that. Caution, clarity. Those are good words. How cautious should we be? How clear should we be about going in the first place? Because sometimes, I tell you, and I think I already spoke this to you, the incident that happened 2 weekends and a few days ago at the Home Depot, where a mother encouraged her child to come and do wrong. Well, for me, there's no way that I could have ever done that. But the other thing, the flip side of that, is that I was only about 5 minutes away from saying I was going over to Home Depot. And then I called somebody and said, don't worry about it. I'll get it for you. Okay. So that thing was turned around for me, but I would have been in the middle of that, scared. I'm going to tell you, I'd be scared. Hey, good morning, Barbara. Good morning. Good morning. Today our word is scan, and how we're looking at not scanning our environment sometimes may put us in a situation where we can't do much with it. We cannot. But so for me, I have contemplate, and contemplate says that I'm going to look thoroughly around my environment when I leave my house. I always look in my car, even though my car is locked and my car has little bells and whistles on it. But people don't have bells and whistles. They've learned how to override certain things. They learn how you operate when you leave, when you come back. And I paid more attention to it. I have to be honest, when I lived in New York. I don't pay as much attention to it now, but I have to get back to it, because Ardelia, did you say evil is everywhere? Evil is everywhere. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Absolutely everywhere. It says, so when we contemplate stuff, it says we must thoroughly look at its things for a long time, or at least long enough for us to come up with what is happening in the world. The world has become so scary. Absolutely, Barbara. Absolutely. Very scary, to the point where we're not even as much as scared for ourselves as we are for the people that we love, because they may have less of a concern for the evilness of the world. They just go out and live their lives. And I certainly want to live my life. Don't get me wrong, but I'm always concerned about how I'm living, cheating, Con games, right? Children and grandchildren, absolutely. We're going to look at all of that. The fact that that's how life is. After a while, it's not just us. Then it's our family members. Then it's our friends, the grandchildren, the children. And even though my child is in the city with me, I still have concern for her because I'm thinking, it's not just her company, the company that I have when I'm with her, but it's the company she keeps. How safe is she with them? You just never know, because people will get you into where you know them, but then you don't know their associates. That's life. So when we contemplate something, we must view it better than what we have done. We must give some regard to it, not act like it's just going to pass by. We should examine it. Once again, as it says for scan, inspect it, observe it, survey. How many of us have surveyed? I used to survey my daughter when she lived with me. Where you going? How long you going to be there? What you going to be doing? I used to make her sick, but then I let her know that that's part of a mother's heart. That's part of a caring heart, is that we're going to do that. It says that when we contemplate, we must study and we must give it our eyes, put some eyes on it, put some eyes on it. Now my A, and what did you put for your A? Because I know Joan and Debbie and those of you who have been working with me for a long time. Y'all know y'all come up with a whole bunch. Where I ask for one, you give me a whole bunch of stuff. Action. Come on now, Debbie. Come on, Debbie. Action. Action, action, action. Anxiety. Yes. I knew you meant anxiety. And we sometimes do have anxiety, don't we? Especially after something catastrophic has happened, we get anxious, and funny thing, I didn't hear that the other thing was kind of going on, but after I came back home and I said, what? They was in the Dollar Tree, and I had just been in the Dollar Tree. So when we analyze something, it says we examine it methodically and we basically get the devilishness into the details, looking at how it is constructed, what's really going on. Is there something to be concerned about? Looking at what information was given or what information we derive from what's taking place. And says we look at it for its purposes. It may not be for your purpose of goodness, but some other purpose that is considered evil. Okay. Absolute, anticipate. Yes. Agitated. Come on now. Angry. Okay. These are so good. Accuracy. Accept. We do have to accept the world. We do realize that some things they may become absolute. They may not. We may anticipate them. We may not. Okay. It says we may be agitated by them, but sometimes I'd rather you be agitated and living than me being chastised about me agitating you and I remain heartbroken because you're gone. So to me, it's I accept who I am. See, I'm going to use all the words y'all gave me. I accept who I am. But when we analyze something, once again, it says we're looking at how it's constructed, and what information we derive from it, how we can explain it, and what we interpret by it. I interpret a lot of things, if I know that there's people that, I also know that there's copycats. There's copycat folks, that people that they're waiting for something to happen just so they can do something that's similar. And a lot of times people are looking for notoriety because, they already had a mental issue or somebody, didn't like them, didn't care about them, didn't love them, didn't show them the importance of loving. Then you get it. You understand how they sink to their low. So when we analyze, it says that we're going to pursue the idea that we need to make this something that we pay attention to. How many of us research? Who's a researcher? If you're a researcher, just put an R out there. I am. You can't tell me just that it happened. I must see what did it say about how it happened, And it says, you can audit stuff and you can review it, evaluate it. And it says, but most of all, you can give it your personal judgment. How many of us are fearful to judge things that happen? I'm not. It's my opinion. and everybody has an opinion, and sometimes we don't know what we need to know only because we didn't look into it. you know Joan says you're a researcher. Okay, I know Debbie is, because Debbie loves to research different things. Now here's something, I'm going to deviate a minute. For my N, let me see what you all put for your N. Barbara's a researcher. Okay. Let me see what anybody put for their N, because my N, it talks about importance. Okay. Misrepresentation. Okay. Not M. I'm going to put an N, not scam, it's scan. So it's an N. So who has something for an N? To me, it's obvious. It's obvious. Wrong word. That's okay. I know, but you had the right word earlier. We're fine. What would you put for your N? Anybody? Because I'm getting ready to give my N in a minute. 1 second. I don't see anybody typing in, but that's okay. The suspense. Ooh, there it is. Necessary. Notice. Okay. All right. Guess what I put? Joan, you got the word. I say it is a necessity that we scan. Okay. Newsworthy. Right. Right. Those are all good. Noteworthy, newsworthy, necessity. That means it's required. It's required that we try to do it as best we can of taking care of ourselves as best we can. And I find it to be really important. Much coffee. You are so funny. I find it to be so important that it becomes essential for us to look after ourselves. No one's going to do it as well as you will. No one. No, nonsense. That's a good word. It is nonsense that we have to pay this much attention to others who are doing things that are harmful to others. When I woke up with that news yesterday morning of someone, making their way into a store to just kill people and then kill themselves. What a coward. To me, if you're that miserable, take yourself out. It's okay. It's okay. You've lived your life in such a way that makes it just so hurtful that when you leave, you continue to hurt. And it says that he had a history where domestic violence too. That's where I feel that when it's really required for mental health institutions to have a place for people like this, that maybe they could get the help they need in order to allow them to live a better life. But that is what happened in Jacksonville. So anyway, for necessity says required, because it is an obligation for ourselves that we look after who we are and how we live. And it says that necessity is required. It stands in the need of attention. It says it must be something, and we need to put ourselves on the edge of desperate protection for ourselves, that we must look after who we are. It says he was 20 years old. Do you think his parents and family taught him this? No. They said that it was they definitely had a history of mental illness. So I don't believe, and who knows what happened. We don't know if it was something that happened at birth or something such as schizophrenia, which means, I used to work in that area, which means that it is something that it becomes real to them because they're seeing and hearing things and it's telling them something to do. But who knows? I'm not the doctor. I'm not the people or the family member that encountered who he was, but it just says that sometimes things like that are truly out of our control. But if we've scanned the situation, we can be in a better position to say, they really need to be hospitalized. They really need that intervention. They need it. And I just remember working in that area for years. And it's a tough area because a lot of times the insurance may not support, or they don't have the insurance, but the medical services and the interventions that are needed, they're not available to them. And mental health is one of those areas where people may talk to you and be very lucid and still be, dreaming up things to do to others before they do to themselves. Those are in their mind. So how do you measure it? How do you get behind it? Well, to me, that's when it is a necessity that everyone that sees this going on needs to say something, about this is happening. you know he's threatening the family. We're terrorized. We're this, we're that. But I believe that there's probably a lot of families, Melissa, that live hard conditions just because the family member can't get the help the family member needs, and they are victimized. So yes. So the necessity becomes, how do we, getting back to scan, how do we take care of ourselves? We have this is that we must sometimes need to call for help. We need to holler out. We need to write letters. We need to be in a position that we're looking out for ourselves and the people that we love. It says we may need to do some tracking and making it an essential thing for us, that people know where we're going when we leave, and what to expect, and all those kinds of things. And a lot of times, you have people that are really free spirits. They just go and live their lives. I don't know, I've never been that free, never been that spirited to just be out there. So for me, I'm going to tell somebody what I'm getting ready to do and where I'm going. So that way, if I come up where I'm not where I'm supposed to be, I want somebody to look for me, because I'm not just going to go. Okay. It also says with necessity that it may be a requisite before you go any place. They always say a prerequisite, but the requisite says, boom, it's in place. Everybody knows this is how we sat down. This is how our family meeting said, when something happens, this is what we need to do. This is a code word. This is a this and a that. When my daughter was little, I used to give her little things to say so that she would know, if she's in trouble, say this word. If I'm in trouble, I'm going to say that word. It says necessity also talks about it being compulsory, obligatory, and mandatory. So if we just look at our lives, so much different than what we probably hoped that they would be. You hope as you move you on in years that the years are going to be good to you and good for you and good for the people that you know and love. But there's also, Ardelia said it, there's evil in the word, or whoever said it. I got a lot of notes on there now. Whoever said it, there's evil all around us. We need to be aware of what we're doing. Scan your environment. If you don't do anything else, as it says, we may look at the if, and we don't want the if to be on the negative side for us. So we need to scrutinize, we need to contemplate where we're going, scrutinize what is happening, analyze it for its goodness, and make it a necessity. That's what we need to do to scan our safe environments that we're in, that we're okay. I love you guys. I appreciate you. If you don't do anything else, if you would just hit that click, you could say like or love if you'd like. And then also share it. Share this message to somebody. Somebody needs to hear this message this morning. I thank you. I love you. I will see you on Wednesday with another word. But y'all be safe out there. Scan your environment. Okay? I see you soon. Appreciate you. Thanks. Bye-bye.